Have you ever wondered what could happen if the conflict between the US and Iran escalates into a full-scale war? Today, we're breaking down the situation, what's happening on the ground, and why it matters not just to the Middle East, but to the entire world. In February of 2026, tensions that had simmered for decades between the United States and Iran erupted into open conflict. The U.S., together with Israeli allies, launched a series of strikes targeting Iranian military facilities and nuclear infrastructure. Iran responded almost immediately with missile and drone attacks against U.S. forces and regional allies. What began as a tactical operation quickly escalated into one of the most serious geopolitical crises in recent years. The initial U.S. campaign, called Operation Epic Fury, focused on disabling key Iranian military and nuclear assets. Reports indicate that several high-ranking officials were targeted during these strikes, including members of Iran's Leadership Council. In response, Iran launched waves of missile and drone attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and neighboring Gulf states. The rapid escalation surprised global observers and raised concerns about a broader regional war. The human cost in Iran has been significant. Over 1,000 civilians have been reported killed and thousands more injured. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and essential services such as electricity, water, and healthcare have been disrupted. The conflict has forced schools to close and has severely impacted the economy, leaving many citizens struggling to access basic necessities. One of the most critical flashpoints in this conflict is the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which nearly 20% of the world's oil exports pass. Following the outbreak of hostilities, tanker traffic through the strait has been disrupted, and Iran has threatened to partially block shipments. Even the perception of instability in this region has caused oil prices to surge, affecting markets globally. Rising energy costs are felt directly by consumers, with higher gasoline prices and increased costs for goods transported by oil-dependent supply chains. Economists warn that prolonged instability could contribute to inflation and slow economic growth worldwide. The U.S. military strategy has been to degrade Iran's ability to conduct large-scale operations while limiting its nuclear program. Precision strikes have targeted missile launchers, command centers, and other infrastructure critical to Iran's military capabilities. At the same time, the U.S. has increased its presence in the region to protect allies and maintain control over strategic shipping lanes. Despite its technological advantage, the U.S. faces significant challenges due to Iran's use of asymmetric tactics, including mobile missile platforms, drone swarms, and proxy forces. The conflict has already spilled over into neighboring countries. Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iraq have experienced missile or drone strikes, and even nations not directly involved are increasing military readiness. The risk of a wider regional war is real, as proxy groups and accidental engagements could draw additional countries into the conflict. This has created a tense security environment throughout the Middle East, with global powers closely monitoring the situation. Economically, the conflict has caused significant ripple effects. Oil prices have surged above $100 per barrel, driving up fuel costs and creating instability in global markets. Stock markets have reacted to the uncertainty, and supply chains, particularly for energy-intensive goods, have been disrupted. The U.S. economy is feeling these effects through higher consumer prices, increased defense spending, and overall market volatility. Geopolitically, the conflict has drawn attention from global powers. Russia and China have expressed support for Iran, while the U.S. continues to rely on NATO allies and Middle Eastern partners to maintain strategic positions. Diplomatic efforts are ongoing, but the risk of escalation remains high. Analysts suggest that this conflict could reshape alliances and alter the balance of power in the region for years to come. Looking ahead, the outcome of this conflict is uncertain. Some analysts hope for negotiations or a ceasefire, while others warn of months-long engagement with continuing strikes and retaliation. The war has demonstrated vulnerabilities for both regional and global actors, highlighting how interconnected the modern world has become. For U.S. citizens, understanding these developments is crucial, as rising fuel costs, global economic shifts, and security concerns are all directly tied to the situation. Before we wrap up, we want to ask you, do you think this conflict could escalate into a full-scale war that affects the United States directly? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters, and we'd love to hear from you. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay updated on the latest developments in global conflicts, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an important update. In conclusion, the Iran-US conflict is not just a regional issue, it has global consequences. The coming weeks and months will likely determine the scale of human, economic, and political impact. Staying informed about these events is essential to understanding how current conflicts shape the world and what the implications may be for the United States and beyond.